Hi everyone. The power of AI is growing exponentially, but society is woefully unprepared for the fallout from this progress. Although we're just starting to appreciate the immense benefits that AI can offer, we're largely overlooking a multitude of unforeseen risks, from digital impersonation to the havoc of cyber warfare. Let's take a deep dive into the darker side of this rapid technological revolution. I'll talk in 3 sections. First, some hidden dangers. Second, the worst danger of all. And third, what can we do about all this? First section, hidden dangers of AI. In this section, I'll walk through several dangers that we are currently experiencing, or we will in very short order. AI has begun to undermine the socioeconomic balance of our societies. As AI gets more and more capable, it can start to replace more jobs that humans have been doing. This is often people's first thought when they hear about AI and they think about the rapid improvement of technology, is what will happen to my job? And this is such a common concern that I've actually made another video about this, which you can check out over here. Even beyond the automation of jobs, however, AI will have other destabilizing influences. For example, by predicting swings in economic markets. Hedge funds are already using machine learning for this. Or by fully predicting and being able to monetize people's behavior, their economic status, their orientation, health conditions, and other private data. These types of influences upset people's place in society and whether they can feel safe and in control of their future. The second danger is that AI will blur the idea of truth. This is already happening with political instability, for example, with the Cambridge Analytica scandal that had some influence on President Trump's election. Social networks shape opinion and discourse. They're a great place to spread misinformation and have bots, and they're really driven by machine learning because a social network uses algorithms trained on people's level of engagement to try to present the most interesting content, which will keep you on the platform, but the most engaging content is often the most extreme content as well, so that naturally pushes people further to the left or further to the right. And as AI gets better and better at making up information and spreading it, it becomes really hard to know who to trust and what is real, which has a severe influence in people's trust in institutions and in the validity of science and so on. The third danger is that AI is reprogramming humans. I mean that mostly in the sense of hijacking the human brain's reward system. In 2004, the average attention span of a person was about 2.5 minutes, and now, 19 years later, it's only 47 seconds. And that's down to these machine learning algorithms always presenting to people exactly what they want to see, getting a hit of dopamine, etc. This type of mental rewiring is most dangerous to young people especially, so it's one reason that really young kids shouldn't really be exposed to screen time. This is not all bad, of course. I think that machine learning algorithms that provide recommendations can be really powerful if you leverage them well. That's basically what YouTube's homepage is, right? A customized algorithm that you train yourself that provides you with interesting and engaging videos. So the fourth danger is that of increased cyber attack vectors. A lot of cyber attacks are carried out through phishing, like fake emails or fake phone messages, and a criminal who has access to ChatGPT will find it a lot easier to create convincing emails and phone messages. In fact, we're starting to even see deep fake videos where an AI generated image can impersonate a human. That could be a very convincing way to get someone to do something. ChatGPT is actually really good at computer security. It can find new flaws in software, the so-called 0 days, and piece together exploits for known vulnerabilities as well. The unfortunate reality is that any system can be hacked given enough resources, and AI multiplies the resources that an attacker has at their disposal. All the software in the world today has only been subject to human scrutiny and occasionally random exploration of their inputs, which is a technique called fuzzing, but a smart artificial intelligence will be able to find a lot more bugs than those two techniques. There are programming languages out there that are safer to use, that enforce memory safety, for example, but we have a world that's running on a lot of code that was not written that way. This is just my feeling, but I think that artificial intelligence would be pretty good at breaking encryption as well. Of course, it's well known that some internet encryption can be broken if you have a powerful enough quantum computer. There are so-called post-quantum algorithms that can be used that should be safe even if the attacker has a quantum computer, but most encryption is just based on the hardness of fundamental mathematical problems, which we don't know how to solve. But maybe AI will have some breakthroughs here, or maybe AI will help put together a quantum computer. The fifth problem is increased danger of cyber warfare. The bar to a cyber attack is really low, and a lot of countries do it now all the time to each other. It's sort of like a Cold War. Most of these attacks don't really have severe consequences in the real world. However, the rapidity or the speed at which cyber attacks can be carried out means that AI will almost certainly be put in charge of cyber defenses. Unfortunately, in cybersecurity, the best defense is a good offense. which means that these capabilities are offensive and destructive in nature. A non-human entity might well start or dramatically escalate a conflict between great powers in the cyber domain, not to mention enabling espionage between countries and even between corporations, because attack techniques that currently need the resources of a nation state would become much more accessible. It's worth noting that a cyber attack can affect the physical world as well. It can target critical infrastructure. For example, a few years ago there was an attack on the Colonial Pipeline, which carries gas from Texas to the eastern United States, which led to substantial fuel shortages until the pipeline could get back online. Power plants, dams, hospitals, nuclear facilities, etc. could all be the potential target of a cyber attack. Even cities as a whole are pretty fragile environments. For example, if New York City were to be cut off from all incoming shipments, it would only have food for about 3 days. The sixth issue is the increased lethality of conventional warfare. Large portions of defense budgets around the world are going towards figuring out how to use AI to build better and more effective weapons, from drones to mines to missiles, you name it. I have an interesting example. I was fortunate enough to sit in on a United Nations meeting about the regulation of cyber capabilities. What I found astonishing was that everybody in the room from all those different countries, they were all former nuclear proliferation negotiators. Nuclear weapons used to be the #1 threat to security that needed a lot of negotiators, and then those jobs evolved into negotiating the cyber policies between different nations. I would hope that today those same people might be gearing up to start negotiating treaties and control for advanced artificial intelligence in weapons. The problem, though, is that now there are a lot of open source AI models as well, which means a lot of arms control treaties and so on might be pretty much unenforceable because the blueprints are already out there. On that cheery note, let's go on to the second section, the seventh problem, the biggest problem of all, the AI alignment problem. What's this? Oh, that's how you know it's serious. Basically, AI might kill every human on Earth if we're not careful. We're building these very powerful systems whose goals might end up in conflict with ours, or who might just not care about humans very much at all. In the words of Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, the goal is to allow human civilization to decide the future of human civilization. We would have to prevent accidental misuse of AI, as well as unclear instructions being given to an AI, which then goes off the rails, and the even harder problem of preventing humans with bad intentions from using AI to cause great harm. You could think of these future AI systems as kind of like nuclear technology, but much more accessible. You could use it to build infinite power sources, or you could use it to build bombs. The root problem is that we could lose control of AI systems. Again, possibly because the AI might view us as a threat, or possibly completely accidentally as well. Why would an AI with self-determinism keep humans around, which to its perspective might be really weird, slow aliens, especially if we're using the same resources? Here's an example scenario from Eliezer Yudkowski. Suppose AI gets access to the internet. It would then be able to contact companies that produce proteins and DNA sequences to order and get arbitrary molecules mailed to it. Then it could convince humans to open the mail and put things together without them realizing what they were doing, and mix together a first stage nanofactory, which could then assemble other nanobots. Again, we don't really have the technology and know how to do this today, but we assume that a super intelligent AI would be able to figure that out. Those nanobots could then spread throughout the atmosphere or even infiltrate every single living human's bloodstream. And this could be all without being detected while the AI is doing whatever task the humans actually wanted it to do. The nanobots could then all detonate or release poisons if the AI felt it was threatened or felt the need to eliminate us. So how likely is this scenario? Unfortunately, current AI systems don't have much common sense or ethics. They just optimize for a single fitness function. The fitness function describes what the human creators want to have happen, but a smart AI might think of extremely out-of-the-box solutions, like, for example, taking control of its creators to remove any other restrictions they might have in place, therefore making it easier for it to achieve its goals, or maybe even taking control in order to change its own fitness function. If you want to hear more blood-curdling ideas like this, I suggest you read AGI Ruin, A List of Lethalities. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. So, third section. These scenarios sound pretty bad, right? So what can we do about all this? I'll briefly discuss what some experts on AI safety have to say about the situation. Max Tegmark's perspective was that there should be a pause on development. He created the petition that you might have heard about, which was calling for a 6-month pause on developing any AI language models more powerful than GPT-4. A lot of people signed that petition, but the US Senate basically said no during the recent hearings with Sam Altman. I'll say as well that the basic idea of the pause seemed to be that they could stop and wait and apply formal methods to figure out whether AIs were behaving as we wanted them to. I have to say, from a security perspective, there are a lot of formal methods in security, and it's often a great basis to build on, but it doesn't prevent people from doing a lot of other stuff as well. So I don't know that this idea was ever realistic. The perspective of Eliezer Yudkowski, who gave the example in the previous section, of course, is that we should halt AI development entirely. Unfortunately, this is no longer possible because Meta's large language model called Llama was leaked and released open source. So Pandora's box has already been opened. It's also made really complicated by geopolitical incentives. For example, the US didn't really want China catching up in terms of large language model capabilities, but they were pretty far ahead, so they might have been okay with a pause. But now everyone has access to this Llama model, so there's that. And of course, the economic incentives as well. There's a lot of money to be made from artificial intelligence. And unfortunately, in reality, we can't stop bad actors from developing this technology on their own and destroying the world. Our only option is to advance as safely as we can and figure out how to lock down development in the long run. Or else, as technology advances, more and more people will have this ability to develop intelligent systems and accidentally destroy the world. Finally, Geoffrey Hinton's perspective is that these models are just too useful. They're going to get developed anyway. I personally would argue that we can't survive without AI. The number of challenges facing the current generation is just too great. Just think from a resource perspective alone. The amount of energy that we have to use to dig up fossil fuels keeps growing. In other words, we're getting worse and worse return on our investment. We've used up a third of Earth's resources in the last 30 years alone. Or put another way, we currently need 1.8 Earths to fully support the rate at which we are consuming resources and producing waste. To pick just one aspect, we've maxed out on arable land, increasing food production as much as possible, and yet we still continue to build cities on this fertile land, decreasing the amount we can use to grow food. Thanks to climate change, we're seeing decreasing crop yields, the extinction of pollinators, etc. And yet Earth's population is still growing. I don't think we currently have the tools to tackle these types of problems. What we can do about the potential hidden dangers of artificial intelligence is we can think about how law can help us. We've always lived with dangerous technologies and weapons, but we use laws to regulate them, attaching responsibility to humans, or intelligent agents, I guess. I think law needs to catch up and move much faster. It probably needs to be implemented in code much of the time. And maybe AIs need their own laws as well. Not the 3 laws of robotics from Asimov, but laws that are established amongst themselves and enforced by code as well. Rather than trying to constrain systems that are much more intelligent than we are, we need to instill in them desire and respect for a code of law, again, most likely maintained by the AIs themselves. And then we can see AI tools as the responsibility of the intelligent agent, whether human or machine, that put them to use. Of course, we don't want to turn life into just a blockchain defined by code, ripe for exploitation. Some amount of interpretation is always necessary when it comes to law. But I bet a smart AI could determine justice pretty swiftly. I think that the good should outweigh the bad if we're careful, but the one thing to keep in mind is that the future is fast-paced, fast evolving, and fast approaching. Finally, in conclusion, we talked about 7 different hidden dangers, including undermining the socioeconomic balance, increased danger of cyber warfare, and the AI alignment problem, aka AIs might kill everyone. Although some people would prefer to pause or stop developing AI entirely, Pandora's box has already been opened. It's time for us to reap the benefits and accept the responsibilities that come with the power of automation. And hopefully we'll be able to adjust our laws to follow suit. If you liked this video, you might want to check out my previous one about whether AI will take our jobs. That's all I have for today. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.